Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. You're around the shoots, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast podcast. I'm Miss Helen, along with a sweet, precious girl that I met recently, well, back in March at the Texas Regional Radio Awards, in which you got an award, but let's announce Taylor Dunn. Hello, Taylor.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited that you're here. I've thought of you quite often ever since we met.
Aww.
And so, yeah, we met up that night. We're visiting, and then you get the award for New Female Vocalist of the Year.
I mean, I was completely shocked. So was my family. So it was such an exciting thing to actually win. I will say it was very surreal. And what made us really laugh after is my dad. He was filming the nominees, you know, when they announced the award, to hear my name be said as a nominee. And he stopped filming when they said the winner, because we literally thought there's absolutely no way, you know, I'm new to the scene. This is my first time being nominated. So yeah, I didn't even have like anything planned. I was completely shocked. So
wow, love it. And speaking of your family ties, you grew up in San Antonio area?
Yes.
And you come from a musical family. Music was a big part of your family.
Yes, absolutely. My dad really, I think, started the whole music thing with us when we were very little. And I say we because my sister, she's about 3 years younger than me. And we used to just sing all the time. I mean, we have so many home videos of us singing. And I think he just kind of noticed that I took to it maybe a little bit more. And then my dad's side of the family, I mean, every Christmas Eve, all guitars are out. My uncles, I mean, we grew up singing all together, and my cousin, you know, he sings as well. So it was very musical, and we kind of always had that present in our family.
Yeah, and you've just kind of taken it and run with it. Your voice is so strong. Your songs are so good. We're going to get into some of your songs. So then you went on to A&M. What did you study at A&M?
So I have a business degree from Mays Business School at Texas A&M, which I totally enjoyed my college experience. I couldn't speak more highly of the university that I went to, and I'm lucky that I got to go there. And while I was there, I did sing a little bit. I would perform. I was in a sorority there, and I did a lot of benefits and got to kind of, you know, try my hand at performing on a bigger stage there. And I, of course, played at some bars and stuff. And then when I got to Dallas, I feel like, you know, I went into a normal corporate life, and things kind of took over with that. And then honestly, during the pandemic, I was like, you know what, I'm going to bring it back out. I need to get back out. This is something I'm passionate about. And so, yeah, it's kind of taken off, I feel like, a little bit.
So that was during the time when you recorded your Greener Grass EP.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you write most of your songs? You co-write?
I do. All of the songs on my EP, I think I've written one or two or three by myself. And then the other three, one was with my cousin. And then the other two were just with a friend. She's a professional writer and had the interest of doing it. And we just kind of were like two amateurs, like, let's see how this goes. And then more recently, I do have a couple songs that I'm waiting to release. And one of them, I did get to have a co-write with William Beckman. So that was super exciting. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, I want to talk about, of course, your first radio release was Homesick When I'm Home. Yeah. And that is such a Taylor Dunn song. And like, you're the only one that could have done that song. I absolutely love it. So tell us about the backstory on that one.
Well, I think for me, it's very personal, but I tried to write it as generic as possible in the sense that I call out my hometown and my current city. So it's definitely very specific. But I think a lot of people can relate to this idea of, you know, being a young adult, or even just throughout your life, if it's college or when you're older and you move away, just this kind of tie to your hometown. I feel such a strong tie. Like, I struggle when people ask me, where are you from? I probably should say, they probably mean, where do you live? Which would be Dallas. I've lived here for almost 8 years, but I always have to say, well, I'm from San Antonio, but I live in Dallas. You know?
I've been around for a long, long time, and I love my hometown, and I still have my hometown roots. And I immediately go to my hometown And I'll
Right.
say, oh, that was my little girl hometown where I grew up, but now my big girl hometown is here. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think people can relate to that. And the homesick when I'm home thing is just this like, confusion almost, or like this tie between two places where, of course, I love my adult life. I've made a life for myself here in this city, and I have my friends and I have my work and my own things. But San Antonio is such a big part of who I am, and my family lives there and has so many of my memories and big milestones of growing up. So it's just like pieces of yourself. And that's kind of like the homesick when I'm home.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Then you followed up with Never Done Love.
Yes. Very personal song.
Yeah, that was very personal.
Yeah, that song I wrote with the same friend that I wrote actually Homesick When I'm Home. And she had the idea, and it was kind of funny. It was during a time in my life where lots of my friends were getting married, and I just kind of felt a little bit left behind, like, what's wrong in my life, or what's wrong with me that I haven't experienced this, seriousness of love. And she's like, have you ever thought to write like Never Done Love, because my last name is Dunn, and that's originally what she thought, like how it could kind of tie. And I'm like, that's a little too cheesy for me, but in the true sense of the word, never done love, yes, at this point in my life, I had not. And so I'm like, let's just, let's pour it out. Like, this is something that I can really speak to, and I hope people can relate to it. And yeah, I love that song. It's like I said, it's very personal to me. So
it's a great song. Now I gotta throw one in here. When I listened to the EP, and like, literally, like I teared up, and I wonder if you're gonna guess which one it is. Ruby Red Diamond Ring.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Oh wow.
I'm so glad that you had that reaction to it, because that's kind of the hope I had for the song. Talk about personal. And again, this whole EP is very personal to me, all the songs, but this one is the one I'm most proud of. I wrote this song for my grandmother, as you can kind of pick up in this song. And I'm just happy that I was able to do it justice. It's her story to tell. I don't think I would ever really get into the details of it publicly, but just the fact that we have this connection. And the ring, she did pass it down to me. It was a ring she bought when she thought, you know what, I've got to take off this wedding ring. I want to wear something nice. And she bought herself this, it really is, it's a ruby with diamonds around it. And I'm the first granddaughter, and she handed it down to me because she wanted to see me enjoy it. And I'm just so happy that we have this special thing together. And I, of course, played it for her to get her blessing. And of course, our whole family's crying when we listen to it. So I'm just glad, like I said, I'm glad I did it justice.
Yeah, it literally, because my nanny, and I was the first. She and I had a super special bond. Like, she was my hero, and I think anything major in my life, I would call her. And when I listened to that song, it was like I remember going through her jewelry box, and it was like, and I just like pictured her standing there. It's like that song is, I gotta stop. But it was
I'm glad that's the feeling that it feels for me too. Thankfully, I still have my grandmother with me, and I hope we get more, as many years together as we can. But it's definitely like this little piece of time now that I was able to put in like a pretty box that, we'll always have. And yeah, it's a really, really special song. And I hope people can listen to it and kind of take in the lyrics and see that.
All right, so let's move on. So what have you been working on? I know you were kind of getting to that a few minutes ago. So what can we look, have you been in the studio?
Yeah. So actually the day after the awards, I had a studio session. So I could not stay around too long. I was like, I got to get home, and rest and be ready tomorrow. And I went up, I record at Rosewood Studios.
I love those guys. They're good friends. Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah. They're the best. They're just like, they've been so great to me and so supportive, and I feel very comfortable with them. And they're super talented. So I went up there and recorded my next two songs. One I did get to write with William. He's, my gosh, blowing up. But him and I met at a charity event that we both got to sing at back last October, and just kind of became friends, and we're able to write that song together. And that song's called Oklahoma, and I'm super, super excited to get that one out. I finally got the last, official cut, and I'm just so proud of it. He really helped me make it into this full story. And I think most people will like it. I hope, at least. And then, so that will probably come out, I'm assuming around September.
Good.
Yeah. And then the other one I wrote by myself, it'll probably just, depending on Christmas, I feel like sometimes you release a song and depending on how it does, then you got to wait maybe till next year that one will come out. But it's different. It's called Wishing You Would Have Stayed. And it's a little bit different than any of the type of, I feel like, musical stuff I've put out so far. So I think it's just a matter of, honestly, I'm trying to stay super genuine to myself. And if I like it and it speaks to me, I'm putting it out. And if people pick it up, that's great. And if not, that's fine. So,
so you're juggling a lot. You have your job and plus still working in your music, which that's amazing. So do you have any time or like to do some little live shows?
Yeah, I feel like this past year and a half, I've been boots on the ground, really trying to get out there because of course there's so many benefits from performing live and getting an audience that way. Of course, I've worked the radio. Spotify's been super great to me. I don't know how I've been able to get on these editorial playlists. And I feel like the performing live stuff has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat as I am juggling multiple things. Unfortunately at this time, I still have to keep my normal job so I can fund this music stuff. And I mean, I don't necessarily like to always advertise that because, I don't want people to think that doesn't mean I'm not taking it serious. It's just the fact, I have to have funds to be able to pay.
Everybody does. Yes.
Yeah. It's just, I'm being real. It's just, that's how I'm able to
get this stuff out. That's the real life of musicians it's juggling a full-time job and then doing your music. Yes.
Yeah. So then I think the main thing right now that I'm really trying to focus on is writing. It's been something that I did not used to do in the past, to be honest. It's something that I tried and I felt like I was, just didn't think I was good at it. And as I've gotten older, I've been like, no, I'm able to write some stuff and, co-writes are great to get a different perspective and have some help. But so I'm trying to focus on that. I book all my own shows. My sister and I are kind of this duo together. So we are still like getting on, trying to book stuff. So we'll just see as things come up. I will say compared to when I first started, I was like anywhere that will have me, any restaurant, any bar, I'm like, please let me play. And now that I've had a little bit more exposure, I'm like, okay, let's be like a little bit more thoughtful about where I'm performing and try to make stepping stones to where I can continue to get those bigger shows. So
that's awesome. So I know, going back, I know that your family was a huge musical influence on you, but were there any other people that you listen to or, influences?
Absolutely. Growing up, I'm a 90s baby. So the early 2000s, late 90s, Shania Twain, Dixie Chicks, huge influences in the music I listened to. We grew up around a lot of George Strait and Merle Haggard music. But most recently, Taylor Swift, huge writer like that I look up to in terms of how I just think she has an effortless ability to write songs and make them specific, but also generic enough to where everybody thinks it's for them, which I think is such a special thing. I don't know, Hailey Whitters is another kind of newer Nashville artist that I really look up to with her writing as well. And Casey Musgraves, those are kind of like,
oh yes,
my influences. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you want to mention that maybe I didn't get to?
No, I'd say I just am happy that I got to come on. I'm happy that people are liking what I'm putting out. As I mentioned, I'm new out to this, kind of scene, and I'm happy with how it's going, and people have been me, and it's just fun that I get to do this. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds.
All right. So one last question before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
I know this question because I do listen.
I know.
And I probably have a little bit of a different answer, but I think I'm an espresso martini.
Oh, wow.
That is my favorite drink because I'm a coffee lover. I feel like it encapsulates both sides of the coin, like, the morning, the night, and it's refreshing. Yeah.
I like that. That's a first one. And I think you've sold me on that one.
You've got to try it. I know it sounds crazy, but if you haven't and you like coffee, you will love it. It's a great
I do. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Taylor.
Every tongue she knew where I was from as she left, I dare to say.